Welcome to the Lighthouse Legacy, a podcast where Bethany High School students illuminate the past, present, and future of our school's academic beacon. This is Yuv, this is Satya,
And this is Nishka.
and welcome to today's episode. Today, we're joined by the driving force behind the success of Bethany Institutions, Dr. Akash Ryall. Akash sir is loved by the students and the staff for his charismatic personality and approachability.
Our guest today is not only the director of one of the most successful institutions, but a person whose leadership has brought about innovative changes and exceptional growth. Welcome, Akash sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think before we go into that, let me just tell you guys, I don't know whether I've been the driving force and all the nice things you said. It's been a team effort. And right from my grandmother who founded the school, to the former principals, to Robert and the heads of departments, I think all of us work in sync, and I honestly believe no man is an island. So when you have a good team with a common purpose, then it's easy to achieve whatever you set out to do. So I'm just thankful to God that we have a great team behind Bethany.
What is the most enduring memory from your childhood, sir?
I've had some good ones and I've had some bad ones and some really bad ones. So the most enduring one, the one I remember the most, I remember coming home after playing and getting the news that my grandmother had passed. And I remember her vividly being laid out. And when I think back, I remember she was a kind person. She was someone who would have me on her lap, and she would read out stories to me. So I think that's etched in my mind, and that'll be there forever. I just remember that very, very clearly.
So, what's the one thing that stands out to you from your teenage years?
To use some of the words that you used, I was, and I don't say this with any pride, but I was one of those naughty boys, and I would stand out of the classroom almost on a weekly basis. I think because my dad was at sea, he was in the Navy, it was just my mom at home. So I was up to a lot of mischief and things that I shouldn't have been doing at that age, but stand out, that would come to my mind.
So, sir, what was a sport or game that you played? Yes.
I loved soccer. I still love soccer, and I captained the Baldwin's soccer team. And after 6 years, we hosted the Baldwin Football Shield. When I captained, luckily for us, after 6 years, we won. So in those days, the school would declare a holiday if the high school team won, and the parent-teacher association, the alumni, and the school took us out for dinners. And I scored 2 goals. I remember I got 20 rupees, 10 bucks for each goal. So soccer.
Yes. So what was the most challenging match you played in football?
It was a game against St. Joseph's. And there was that rivalry. It was either Baldwin St. Joseph's or Baldwin's Bishop Cotton's in those days. And that match was a tough one. It was not when I captained. I think I was in the 9th grade. But I remember it was a grueling game, and then it came down to penalties, and we lost. But I'll never forget that because it was a good game.
Yes. So, were there any specific teachers that inspired you to go into the education field?
I remember 2 teachers, Mr. Donald Peck, who taught us math, and we had a very kind lady, Mrs. Pereira, who... so Baldwin's was a boys' school, and in those days we would get the cane if we did something wrong. And I remember they'd call it benders from Mr. Donald Peck. But, and from our former principal, Reverend Gokavi. In fact, he had 6 canes in his office, and we had to choose our cane. So there was a thick one, a thin one, a long one with little spikes. But I think all of them made an impression as far as how to lead a disciplined life. And I think Mrs. Pereira taught me to be kind and gentle and warm with the students. She was someone we could go to during the tea break the lunch break or before school or after school and talk about anything, about life, not about the subjects.
Yes.
So I think they impacted me more than the teachers who did a great job with the acads.
What is your favorite subject, sir?
That's easy. PE. That's the truth. I mean, I did okay. Nowadays, if you get a 60%, people will just look down upon you. But those days, to get a first class in the ICSE, my mom made biryani and called the neighbors to celebrate. So I was like a kind of okay student, but I loved sports and games more than the academics, to be brutally honest. Don't let the other children hear this or see this. I'm kidding. That is what it is.
So how do you come up with such innovative ideas which are not seen in other schools, like our musicals and our carnivals? The list goes on.
So I try and look at it from a student's point of view and see what they would like. And today we're lucky in today's day and age. There's so many things that the world has to offer. But regarding the musical, I remember I was invited when I just became principal. It was in the early 2000s. I think it was Sapphire School that did Fiddler on the Roof. And when I saw them, I said, I'm sure our kids can do a good job and maybe even better. And that's how we started off. And I remember, I think it was Jungle Book. That was our first musical. The Carnivals, when we were in the 9th grade in Baldwin's, it was our centenary year. Baldwin's had turned 100 years old. So they had a huge carnival for the boys and the girls. And we just had such a great time because otherwise the boys were separate and the girls were separate. So I said, here we have a co-ed school and we don't have anything like that way. And once we started helping the students of Bethany, all our helpers, we thought this would be great, legitimate fundraisers to look after all these unfortunate people that we have here in Bethany. And that's how it started.
So, sir, what are some of the changes you implemented when you became the principal?
Oh man, so many things. Yeah. So we had 45, 50 in a class. We had, I think, only 3 sections. So one of the first things I did was to bring it down to 35 and increase. So we have 5 sections now in Bethany. Then we started I started the computer lab in a big way. We had it outsourced. And then we found Pankaj sir was such a great person and a good teacher. So computers, then we started sports and games. I upped even the music department. So I don't like to brag about all these things, but I think we just evolved as the time went by, and we have a very supportive board. So whenever I suggested something, they said, yeah, go for it.
So what are some of the hidden aspects when someone thinks of running a school, like things that don't come to mind when you think of running a school?
So I don't know if you guys know, I started Greenwood High and 9 other schools in Bangalore. But I've said no to more people than yes. Because if running or starting a school is only about ROI and how much money you're going to make, then I've said the easier thing to do is to build apartments and get your monies. But if you want to do nation building and you want to touch the lives of these young people who come into your fold, then yes, a school is important. And I keep saying that we're so blessed every day to work with y'all and youngsters because we can show you all the way. So I feel that's what a school should be. It should be a safe place. It should be a place where y'all will be happy and where the transfer of knowledge happens.
That's a good mindset, sir.
Thank you.
So Bethany's philanthropic activities really set it apart from other schools. So sir, how does the school achieve these objectives?
So we have 3 funds. And I think it started many, many years ago when I was a principal here in Bethany. I was on my rounds. I'll make the story really quick. There was a girl, I'm not mentioning her name because she's still here in Bangalore and she's doing well now. She didn't have lunch. I remember clearly it was a Tuesday afternoon. She didn't have lunch. A bunch of her friends came and said, sir, she hasn't eaten lunch. She used to get a free lunch in the canteen. So when I went and spoke to her and asked her, she said, sir, I don't have a father and it's just mom and me. And our last meal was on Saturday afternoon. We had 2 ragi mudde balls. They didn't eat anything on Sunday. They didn't eat anything on Monday. But she came and she had her lunch on Monday. On Tuesday, she couldn't bring herself to eating because she knew her mother was at home starving. So Malika ma'am and I got into the car. We took this girl, we went to her place, and we were just horrified to see she was in the 10th grade. There was just one room and a bathroom outside open to air. They were just in dire poverty. So we quickly went and bought something for the mother, gave them some money, and Malika ma'am and I came back to school and we had a meeting with all the teaching staff and the admin, and we said, listen, there will be so many children like this in our own school. So every month, let's put some money aside so that we can help them. And I spoke to the board also, and the Bethany board said that they will put X amount every month also. And that's how we started a corpus. And today we look after 20 families, because we said many schools have free shifts or give a free lunch, give free uniforms and books. But we took it a notch higher because we found when they go back home, if there's no food or electricity, then how will they study? So there are about 20 families, I think, and we have a full-time social worker and Sushma ma'am and Nigel sir. They both go and do house visits. So we give them groceries, we pay their rents, or we give them a certain sum of money and we support these families. Besides this, we look after all our helpers. We have a helpers fund. Their houses during the rains, or if they have children who are going to university, they have to pay like about 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. Where will they get that money from? So we give them the money. It's sometimes a loan and a grant that's given to them, a certain amount. And there are no, the loan is interest free. Then we have our special school where we look after about 80 kids that come under the umbrella of mentally challenged or differently abled. And we have a platinum fund that looks after staff members who've been with us for 25 years or more and leave. We give them something when they leave. So this is how, yeah. And I hope this goes out to other schools also, and other schools start doing this. Because within a school community, you'll find so many children who need help. Basic help like food and a shelter. And that's what we do. Now, after our carnival, every single carnival and every single musical, all the money, I'm saying this and this can be on record because we have teachers from every department who form that committee. So all the money that comes in, only what the school pays for in advance is taken back by the school, but all the profit that's made goes into these funds to look after all these people in Bethany, in our Bethany community.
That's amazing, sir.
So, sir, what are some of your plans for the future of the school?
So one big plan is we have 8 acres of land. After many years of searching and searching and searching, finally we got a piece of land where we built a compound wall and nobody has come. The papers have been clean, no litigation, title deeds are clear. So with this land, we are planning to start a PU college, and we're looking at starting a liberal arts center. And in the master plan, we are even going to see if we can start a degree college also, a Bethany degree college. So we're looking at 2025 or 2026 to start it off.
Yes, sir. It's amazing.
So, as a parent, both your children studied in Bethany High School, sir. So, how was your experience with that?
Well, it was different with Nicole and different with Noah. Boys are wired a little differently from girls. But they did well, they did okay. I'm glad today they are humble and rooted and they don't walk around with a chip on their shoulder. And when I say it was different, I'll tell you, when Noah was in class and I was on my rounds, he would nudge his friends and say, see, that's my daddy, the principal of the school. When I'd pass Nicole's class, she would duck, and if she looked at me, she'd say, just go, like, don't make a big scene about it. But they're both good and they're doing well, and we didn't have any serious problems. I told everybody they have to be treated like every child, and they were not made president of the school and given any leadership position unless it was merited. And I don't think they were even captains of houses or anything like that. So they were treated like ordinary children, and I said that's how it has to be.
So you're a very hands-on director. You're so busy, yet you always find time to talk to us and listen to us. So how do you manage all of this?
I don't do anything. I only talk to the children, I'm a good team. I get my pleasure and I get my ideas and everything just mixing with the students and talking to them, and I learn a lot about our teachers and how they teach from the students. I told you, we have a very good board, a progressive board, and in our principal, he's phenomenal. So I just leave all the heavy lifting for Robert sir to do. I just party most of the time.
So, sir, all the Bethanites admire you and have the utmost respect for you. So, how have you made these connections with the students?
By just being myself. I think it's important to listen to everybody, to be a good listener, and to be there. I remember helping a boy who just couldn't come to school. He would come and then he would run away. Luckily, he just stayed across the road. And I was just giving you this one example, but I've helped many people. Don't mean to come off as vainglorious and boastful, but I'll tell you honestly, if someone needs help, I like to believe that I'm there for them. So I worked with this boy for I think about 5 years, because he had a problem. He had social anxiety. He couldn't meet anybody. He only allowed me to go into his bedroom and sit and talk to him besides his mother. And I would do that. And then finally, we got permission from the council. I think he was 22 when he did his ISE, because he couldn't attend school. He was a very clever kid, but because of social anxiety disorder, I think that's what it was called, he couldn't come. But he slowly got over it. Long story short, he's a doctor today. So I think it's important to be there for when people need you, more in the bad times than in the good times. And that's why I admire Robert also. If anyone is sick, anyone is hurt, he'll drop everything and he'll go to the hospital and look after them. So yeah, I would attribute it to that.
So, as you all know, you have a very busy schedule. You have to run and manage multiple schools and departments. So, sir, could you give us some tips and insights into time management, sir?
So 2 things, delegation and accountability. Once you learn to delegate the work to people around you and you hold them accountable, let me say 3 things. And you've got to be part of it also. You've got to be there. You know, I can walk around here as director and not do anything, but I'd like to, someone said hands-on, be hands-on and be part of the meetings. And I remember there was a time when before we would have our sports, Robert sir and I would get on the field and we'd pick up all the stones. We would pull the mat to flatten out the ground. I think when our helpers and the students would see that, they would come running and they would help. So I think you need to be there. But of course, when there are multiple things happening, you need to find the right people to do the right things. And then we always have a review meeting before a carnival, after our carnival, after the graduation, to see what we did wrong or how we can improve on the next year. So those simple little things help. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So how important do you think higher education is in an individual's professional life?
I don't think it's very important these days. I mean, it's important for you to study, it's important for you to get your certification, but I think the world is changing and it's coming to a point where I believe now in the US and in big organizations, they don't want to see that piece of paper anymore. They want to see what kind of a person you are, how you'll walk in for an interview, how you hold your own, how you are dressed, your communication skills, and if you're good at what you say you are good at, they'll hire you. They're not, I think that's the future. They're not going to worry about your degree and whether you were first class and so on and so forth. So it's good to study, but I think it's important to study for 2 reasons. One, to better yourself in the direction you want to go to, and secondly, for the love of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I love reading, and I will always have a book. Sometimes I read 3 books at a time. I do it because I love it, not because anyone's forcing me to read or...
Yes.
Yeah.
So, sir, as someone who has pursued higher education abroad, would you give some advice or tips for people who want to?
Don't do it, it's a waste of time. like I just said, answered your earlier question, you should do it for the love of it, and you should do it if you are going to improve yourself in that area. I did it. I wanted to join the Navy, but for whatever reason that didn't happen. And then because of my love for reading, my father said, why don't you do a BA? And so from BSc, I moved and did a BA. And went abroad again by default. There was a friend of mine who was dying to go to the US. So I went to one of these fairs with him. And then I was sitting down and someone gave me this piece of paper about doing a diploma in educational governance. And I just took it home and very half-heartedly applied and everything. That poor fellow didn't get a call, I got a call. And that's how I landed up going to the US. I had no intentions of going there and studying abroad and all that. So then I went there. Even that was a diploma in educational governance. On my way back, I had a bunch of friends in California. So then we went to UCLA for a basketball game, a college basketball game. And there I happened to meet somebody who said, why don't you apply and do your master's here? And again, I just said, okay, I'll apply. I was excited to come back home. I love India. I'd never live in the US or anywhere else. It's nice to go there for a holiday. But then I got a call and they said, we can, use your credits that you have in Bowling Green State University in Ohio. We'll give you credits over here. Come here and do your... So I banged my head and I went. And then I did it and came back and took over as principal after that. So my advice is, don't do it because everybody is doing it. You should do it if you really want to and you really love doing something like that. But I have no regrets.
So with your international experience, has Bethany explored any collaborative programs with international educational institutions?
So now we're looking at universities abroad, especially for our liberal arts school, where we want to promote, STEM has now broadened to STEAM, A for arts. So we're looking at promoting music and theatre, fine arts and dance. Nothing to do with my experience over there or the universities I know. But I think there they recognize it a lot, and slowly now in India too, it's come. Even sports, I think it's important now. We're not a sporting country, but after Leander Pace and Sania and Saina and the rest of them, I think slowly parents are saying, yeah, sports is good. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So have there been any unexpected changes that forced you to reassess your approach or pivot?
I'm sure there must have been, but nothing comes to my mind. I'm one of those easygoing, laid-back people, so even if something like that happened, hasn't really jolted me. I can't think of anything. It's been a peaceful, easy feeling, as the eagle sang.
So, sir, we all know you're an excellent orator. Is there anything that you believe makes the speech truly inspirational?
There are a few things. One is you need to prepare. I prepare. Even if it's a small little talk in assembly, I prepare. One, you need to know who you're talking to and talk at their level. You shouldn't never talk down to an audience. There are some speakers who would like to use big words and everything to distance themselves. I don't believe that that's important. So you need to prepare, you need to know your audience, and I think just with experience while doing it, it just then naturally comes. I was not a good speaker. I never took part in elocutions or debates in school. I was more body kinesthetic on the field, But then when I came into Bethany, I was forced into this, so I kind of embraced it, and I always prep myself before I speak. So if I'm telling a story, I'll never read it out. You need to tell a story. And it's important. If I'm talking to the teachers, it'll be a different kind of, the words I use will be different. If I'm talking to y'all or at an assembly, it's different. So I think those are two important ones. Prep and know your audience. And you always have to be ready. You have to be a little quick-witted. You should prepare in case you trip and you're going to fall, what to say. If there's feedback, you should know. And if you can use humor, that's a great way to hook the audience. So humor is important.
So, what are some essential values that every individual should embrace no matter what field or profession they go into?
I love what the armed forces teach you. If you join the army anywhere in the world, they'll teach you to look after your brother on either side. In the corporate world, they'll teach you to pull the other person down. So I think that's important to be aware of the people around you and carry them. Sometimes staff make mistakes, the drivers. I always like to give them a chance and help them learn from what they've done and carry them along with you. I think that is very, very important, more than anything else. And at the end of the day, no one is bad or naughty or evil. I think especially students, they do that because it's a cry for help. There is some inner, deeper reason for what they're doing. So I think if you are a little more understanding to that, and you know that people do things not because they're nasty or bad or they want to hurt somebody, there is a deeper reason. Once you understand that, then life becomes easier, and it's easier to help everyone around you.
So it's better to understand the person instead of categorizing them.
Yeah, no labeling. We should never label. We should always try and be understanding. I know it sounds very nice to say, but it's difficult to do. But I try my best to follow that principle.
So if you could distill your leadership philosophy into a single piece of advice or a mantra, what would it be?
Be humble. That's it. Nothing else. I mean, because once it goes to your head and you walk around with, I am the boss over here, and I don't think you can have teamwork. Here in Bethany, we're so successful because both Robert and I, we talk to our staff all the time. The heads, why is the school divided the way we have it divided? Most schools don't have a HOD in every department. Here, right from pre-primary, right up to junior college, the music department has a HOD, the computer department, art and other departments have coordinators. So we believe once we have a team like that, and it's a very democratic setup, then people will work when we all work together. And so it's like, I think I learned that in the States. They have this flatline management instead of the typical Indian or British pyramid where it's hierarchical. Everyone, at the end of the day, the janitor, the cook, the people cleaning the toilets, and the manager will sit together and have a cup of coffee and discuss how the day went. I think I just love that. So that's my...
So a prestigious school was founded by Mrs. Menon David, your grandmother. So sir, was there any pressure when you took up the leadership role here?
No, actually, they only pressurized me to come and take it. I was in advertising, I was enjoying myself, I was traveling, I just loved what I was doing. I said, I don't see myself coming every day to school with a tie and saying, good morning, good morning, good morning. But when I came in, I have no regrets. I just love it. I wouldn't want to exchange this for anything in the world. Talking to y'all and working with a bunch of kids. It has its challenges, but otherwise, I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way.
So how do you think education is changing in this world of artificial intelligence?
I don't know, but I know that AI is here to stay and it's going to be very impactful, and we all have to prep ourselves for it, because that's going to be a huge change. I don't ever see AI or online classes and all taking over, because the warmth of a human being and having a teacher in that class actually talking to you. I told you the two people who impacted me most was Mr. Donald Peck, who used to give me benders. Now AI, how will you get that? You won't. Yeah. And the other was Mrs. Pereira, who would actually sit and talk to me about everything else but studies and academics. So for me, a teacher and a master should be there, and they should play that role. You all should be able to go to anybody and tell them your deepest, darkest problems, perhaps which you can't share with mom and dad, and they should mentor you all in a nice, friendly way so that you can walk that straight and narrow.
So human connection.
That human touch is there.
It cannot be replaced.
It cannot be replaced by robots and AI and all that. But That's the future. Someone very wisely said that I think all of y'all are digital inhabitants. Y'all are born in this digital world, so y'all don't know other than that. While we are digital migrants, we're trying to migrate there. I don't know how to use the smartphone like the way some of y'all can use it. But having said that, I'm happy that way. That's why I'm not on Facebook. I don't have an Insta account. I don't know too much about Twitter and all the rest of it. LinkedIn and WhatsApp itself drives me mad. Yeah.
So if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
To pay more time with studies. I think I would have been that much more wiser if I didn't spend so much of time on the playground. So that's what I would tell young Akash. Don't be a fool and play soccer all the time. Go and study also, man.
So how do you balance being a disciplinarian and a fun-loving leader as well?
I don't know if I'm a disciplinarian, but I try and live a disciplined life. I get up early in the morning. I try and go to bed by 9. I play golf these days, so I get my cardio thrice a week. I work out, I swim, and I try and read management books and fiction. So there is a kind of balance, yeah.
So are there certain things that you do that helps you manage the diverse demands of your role?
Another thing, I don't overthink anything too much. I hate religion. I'm not religious at all. I love my God. I call him Jesus Christ. I say my prayers every morning, every night. And I know that he gives me the strength and the wisdom and the patience. And I take it day by day. So I know we have to plan and so that, but I try and let go of the past, and I try and enjoy every single day to the best that I can.
In the present moment. Yes.
So why is music, theatre and dance such an integral part in Bethel?
Music has been an integral part my entire life. I don't know why. My mom couldn't sing, my dad couldn't sing, neither could my grandparents, but I just loved music. And even now I have speakers everywhere in the house and there's always music on. I think it's so important for us to have music and dance because you can't be angry with anyone when you're singing. Unless you're singing a country song about your ex-girlfriend or something. But otherwise, music and dance keeps you happy.
Keeps you calm.
Keeps you calm. It's good for your body. So I think for all of us today in the chaotic chaos of the current world, I think music and theatre and even art helps us to unwind and to stay focused. So that's why I think it's important.
Is the holistic development of a child?
All this. You need to have some time on the playground. You need to breathe good, fresh air. You need to expend your energy that way. You need to enjoy a God-given talent. Not everyone can play the lead guitar or the keyboards like Nikhil. Not everyone can sing like Cheyenne. But everyone has something. And I think it's important to use that talent. To be happy every day and to go to sleep and have a good restful night. I think that's important.
So what are some of the fun things that you have tried before you became the principal?
When I was in the US, I did something called a reverse bungee jump on a beach in California. They have this huge triangle metal structure and they hook you up with like these massive rubber bands and then you're catapulted in the air. So you go way up into the sky and then the structure kind of goes this way, so you free fall and you fall right close to the ground, the base. That was something I loved. I did it 4 or 5 times. That was a good rush. Besides that, I love my swimming and I just enjoy that, yeah. But I'll never forget this reverse bungee thing.
So you were the principal before you became the director at Bethany. So what aspects of yourself did you have to change while transitioning to a role with greater responsibilities?
I don't know whether greater responsibilities. I know as director is just less work. So poor Robert serves the principal, has to do all the hard work. I sit back and watch and say, good job, Robbie. No, this is more strategic planning. So that's what I do. How do I take Bethany from where we are to where we're going to be next? So I spend a lot of time looking for good land and working with board members and Robert and the HODs as to what we should do later on. And then finally, that's how this plan of the Bethany PU and maybe degree, but the liberal arts school came about. So as director, it's more visionary than hands-on. But again, I like to balance it out. That's why I'm here every day.
So what advice would you give to any aspiring entrepreneur?
So this is general advice I'd give to anybody. I think first you need to have God in your life. That's my personal opinion. And I feel without God, you can't do anything. So you need to pray and ask Him to help you and to show you the way. That's one. You have to be hardworking. The harder you get, the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's what I believe. And you have to be honest in whatever you do. You have to just give it your all. And then you'll succeed, whether it's being an entrepreneur or working in an organization, whatever you want to do. I think if you have these three things in place, then it just becomes easier.
So now we have a bunch of rapid fire questions. Should we begin?
Okay.
Okay, so the first question is, what is your favorite genre of music?
Jazz and blues.
And your favorite artist?
I like a guy his name is Buddy Guy. And another chap called Jamiroquai.
So other than playing the harmonica, do you play any other musical instrument?
I play the radio. I used to play the trumpet at one time. I play a little bit of the guitar. I can manage with the drums. So little bit of all these things. But I really like the harmonica now, and it's called the blues harp because you bend the note. So I'm trying to do that. It's very bluesy and nice.
So what's your favorite movie or TV show?
Blacklist. That's my favorite TV show. I think the dialogues over there are brilliant, and every plot is. I've learned so much listening to. His name is James Spader, the actor in Blacklist. You guys should watch it sometime.
Yes, sir.
It's really nice.
So, what is your favorite soccer team?
I forget the name of this team, but there's a league in Brazil. It's a Brazilian team, and most of them are underprivileged. They would come and play even league soccer barefoot until they were banned from doing it. It's like a Spanish kind of name. I can't get it right now, but I really like them. Of course, we all like the Messis and Ronaldos and Peles and the rest of them, the celebrities. But this was a nondescript team, and each one of them was so good. Everyone could be goalie, and all the goalies could play center, mid, or back. So they were all-rounders and they were diverse. And I think for a team like soccer, you need everyone doing that little, because then they understand what it takes to be a defender, and a defender will understand what it takes to play center and so on. So I really like that team, and I watched most of their games.
So how do you relax at the end of a long day?
I look forward to golfing these days, so I go for golf, come back, have an early dinner, I read, maybe watch a little bit of Blacklist, and then hit the sack and get up. I get up by 5 every morning.
So what's your idea of a perfect holiday?
So a perfect holiday for me is to go anywhere out of Bangalore and then just chill. And not have a bucket list of, I must see this place, I must do that. I like going to museums and learning about the city and reading about their history and their culture. But otherwise, I don't like to spend a holiday doing all the things that a tourist would do. I'd like to just kick back and get into the pool, maybe work out. I'm not really a foodie, but so I'll eat anything. For me, a holiday is to really have a holiday, because most people need a holiday after the holiday.
Yes.
To get over the vacation. So For me, it's just a kickback.
Sir, what place do you want to visit that you haven't visited yet?
Turkey.
Turkey.
So, what is your favorite hobby?
Reading and playing the harp.
So what's your favorite cuisine?
Not a foodie, man. I eat biryani, I don't know, pasta, toast, whatever's in front of me. I just don't like brinjal for some reason. But otherwise, I'll eat anything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It's been amazing to have you here.
Thank you so much for finding time and having this wonderful conversation with us. There were a lot of pieces of insights that everyone can take away from this episode.
I hope so.
Yes,
But
sir.
thank you, guys. Thank you for being patient and so kind to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in. If you want to be notified for further episodes, follow us on Instagram at Lighthouse Legacy Ford. We are also available on most major podcast streaming platforms. Thank you and see you next time.